Welcome to Trail Tales ARP
a running podcast for every type of runner.
with Shawn and Russell the Runner.
Hello, Trail Tales ARP family. Coming to you live from Shelburne, Ontario. We are currently experiencing a snowmageddon, as well as Prince George, British Columbia. Russell the Runner and Shawn Soban here with you this evening to talk some running. I hope everybody's doing well. Russell, it is great to see you, buddy. I just want to start off by saying that I really enjoyed your interview that you had with Morgan Schick. You had so much to talk about. We made it a three-parter, and that was amazing. I think breaking down the interview into three parts was very digestible for everybody and shorter segments, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you to everybody out there who's been listening and even viewing the podcast up on YouTube. Depending on how this recording goes, I'll probably throw this one up there as well. But Russell, good to see you. How are you doing?
Hi, Shawn. Hi, Trail Tales ARP family. It's great that we're finally back united. I know that February was a unique month where obviously you, Shawn, you conducted the episode solo in February, and then I was solo with Morgan Schick, in which it was tremendous to have Morgan on the podcast. He's a seasoned, incredibly impressive ultra runner with, again, 11 100-mile journeys in his life and over 50 ultras. It was tremendous to have him on the podcast and for you to break the podcast into three different parts. That was phenomenal. And I hope that everyone listening to it out there in the Trail Tales ARP family enjoyed it. And I'm glad that we're back united and ready to discuss some exciting running articles.
Reunited and it feels so good. I can't say the way this song goes. I'm not gonna quit my day job, that's for sure. But yeah, you know what? Morgan had a lot of great stories. Great runner. I didn't know he had qualified for Boston on his first qualifying marathon. He's oh look, I qualified for Boston. What a crazy
No
guy.
big deal.
Good stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna catch you and the audience, I guess, up to speed with what's going on with me in terms of running and stuff. So I'm full into like Canicross season right now. Piper, Luna, and myself just finished the Iron Paws. I think it's the 12th edition of that. It's just a virtual stage race where you get out and collect mileage as you run, and they place you. So I think the Canicross division was close to 60 people. We finished mid of the pack, which is what I expected. Doing shift work offers challenges to getting out there and running, but it has been such a weird winter/spring that we've been experiencing. I feel so bad for the snowmobilers in the area because they groom the trails, then it melts a day later, then it gets snow, then it melts. And we were out on the trails about 4 days ago or so, maybe 5 days ago, and it was our first time on the snowmobile trails because they're really nice to run on. It's groomed snow, you don't have to post hole so much, and it's just a great time to be out there. And the snow's actually lasted, and now we're getting a big dumping of snow right now. So my poor wife, who's working in the city till midnight, is going to be stuck there. But thankfully my mom lives down there, so she'll be popping in and spending the night at my mom's house, which is great option to have instead of having her drive all the way up in the blowing snow and stuff, because coming up to Dufferin County from Mississauga is quite treacherous when you get up to like Highway 10 into the country area. There's so much blowing snow and stuff you can't see, and cars end up in ditches all the time. So we're not going to take the chance. But yeah, and how about you, Russell? How's your training going? I know that February you had like a very vertical month, and it was funny because one thing that we've both done, I don't know if this is just a coincidence or not, but my household purchased a Peloton training bike recently, so I started using it and I love it. It's fantastic. It's a great challenge to do, and it's a nice change from running. I think it's good to diversify your training. So strength training, running, and now doing this indoor cycling is pretty fun. But I noticed that you had done some cycling too, and you commented that you've been very linear, and I'm like, yeah, linear, but very vertical as well. So tell us about what you've been up to, man.
Thanks, Shawn. Yes, definitely. It's been a vertical year so far. So in January, and I wasn't necessarily planning on this. I had done some climbing on the treadmill in November and December, but nothing like not a huge amount. But when I got back to Prince George after being in Ontario over the holidays, I started with a big climb on January 10th, and I found myself loving it. And from there, I got hooked. I loved hiking on the treadmill. And so in January and February, I feel extremely grateful. I hiked over 141,000 feet,
Ooh.
and it was a tremendous amount of literally just clearly climbing up the treadmill.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it was, yeah, I certainly became ingrained in it. And it was my meditation and also amazing base training for my second 100-mile ultra, which is coming up in early June. And so I'm feeling excited and strong with all of this base training for my 100-mile training. And I feel grateful that my body's held up well, and the strength training has been huge in that. So even though I climbed all of that vertical gain, I still kept up strong with my strength training, and that's kept my body strong and allowed me to climb that much so far this year, which I feel super grateful for.
I think it's really great training for you since you're doing this big race coming up in the summertime, right? So I was just doing some number crunch real quick. I can't do it in my head like you can, but so that amount of vert is equivalent to just over 26 miles that you climbed, which is absolutely incredible. And
Thank you.
yeah, man, that's crazy. That's pretty high up, but that's pretty high up. Now, when you're doing this climbing on the treadmill, are you kind of what kind of pace are you doing? Are you walking like a brisk walk? Are you running any portion of it? Like how are you running it?
I've literally, this may sound lame, but I've literally done essentially the same pace for all of it. So I set the treadmill at the highest incline it goes is 15 grade, which gives me 492 feet of gain per kilometer on the 15 incline, and
Yeah.
I set it to 4.1 miles per hour. So for those who prefer kilometers, which we're in Canada, usually it's kilometers. 4.1 miles per hour is 6.6 kilometers per hour. So it's essentially 9-minute kilometers walking on the treadmill while climbing just under 500 feet per kilometer.
Yeah. And what are you doing to not go insane? Like how are you entertaining yourself on the trail? Are you just watching
Music.
watching the numbers? Music, okay.
Music's great. I've got my Spotify playlist, and that certainly has kept me sane. And also conversation at times with some wonderful people. That certainly makes it tick by a tremendous amount more. Yeah, I'm endlessly linear, but
Yeah.
it was nice to get on the bike and actually switch it up and realize, okay, I don't need to do the same thing all the time.
Yeah, no, cross training is so important. It's just going to make your running stronger and it's going to make your body stronger. And I think it's something that we need to do. And even when it comes to strength training, you got to change up your routine every once in a while, right? Just to give your body a bit of a change and different challenge. And yeah, kudos to you, Russell. I think it's great, man. You're figuring stuff out, and you're going to have a fantastic running season. I can just tell. One thing I also wanted to mention real quick in terms of running seasons is the Muddy Paw Canicross race that I am race director of is taking place on April 29th at Menora Park, which is in the town of Mono. It's so close to Orangeville, though. Like a lot of people would consider it Orangeville. But we are doing really well with registrants. I think so I limited the live event to 100 participants, right? So I have 30 spots for the 10K race, 30 spots for the 5K race, and then 40 spots for the 5K fun run. Okay. So I think there's only 12 spots left in the 10K and maybe I think 15 spots left in the 5K and the fun run. There's still quite a few spots there, which was a surprise for me because a lot of people did the fun run last year, but maybe they've converted into wanting to compete in the Canicross. I've got some returning runners. We've got some new runners. I've actually had a registrant, which kind of blew me away. She's driving up all the way from the state of Georgia to come to our race. So she's going to have a 3-day drive. We've also got another participants coming up from the state of New York. So it's really, really cool. I'm so honored to have people who are willing to make those kind of trips to come up and do this race. I think it shows, that we need Canicross races around. And I'm happy to have these people come up, and I hope I can give them a great event. And yeah, right now I post on social media, but in case you didn't see it, if you're listening, we also have a virtual 5K and 10K race. So if anybody's listening, and you sign up for the Muddy Paw, it's on Race Rush. I can put the link in the show notes, but just use the discount code TTARP25 and you'll get 25% off the registration fee. It's going to be for a limited time. I only put in so many digital codes that can be accepted. So get yours while you can. You will get a race medal sent to you when you complete it. And yeah, we'll go from there. I'd be pretty excited to have some Trail Tales audience members in there running with their dog. And for the virtual, you don't need any special Canicross gear. Just get your leash and collar or your neighbor's dog if you don't have a dog. Just get out there and run with the dog. That's all.
So Trail Tales ARP family, you know what this means with the discount and the limited spots left. Put your entry in and go take part in Shawn's incredibly special event.
Thank you, Russell. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'd love to see some TTRP family out there doing the virtuals and posting their pictures up. So, we're talking about treadmills, we're talking about bikes, we're talking about running with dogs. Let's talk about some trail and road running, specifically trail running, Russell, and some interesting things that happen on the trail. So we've got an article here that was written by Madeleine Kelly. It's October 13th, 2020 from Canadian Trail Running magazine or runningmagazine.ca. So Russell, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what's in this article.
Absolutely. Let's jump on into it. So here we go with the 5 extremely strange scenarios trail runners consider normal.
Dun, dun, dun.
And they're only things that you'll see a trail runner do. So here we go. Topic number 1, the dirt nap. And so here we have a photo of Michelle Graglia or Mickey Graglia taking a dirt nap at mile 215 of the Moab 240-mile ultra event. And so this is obviously very uncommon and would only happen with trail runners. I know that Mickey Graglia is not the only one who has done this. There's the infamous and legendary Courtney Dauwalter, who also at this same event in its inaugural year of 2017, Courtney Dauwalter won the Moab 240 in just under 58 hours, which is beyond superhuman. And she talked about the story of she took a 1-minute dirt nap because you're only allowed to have 1 minute. And from that 1-minute dirt nap, that's how Courtney propelled herself to the end of an incredible, beyond phenomenal journey in winning the inaugural Moab 240, in which Mickey Graglia also won the Moab 240. So it seems that 1-minute dirt naps and 200+ mile races are a highly effective strategy.
Oh,
Curious to hear your thoughts, Shawn.
Yeah, I've never gone on a run that's so long that I have to lay down in the dirt to take a nap. Now, I have been that tired being a father and, a paramedic doing shift work, having 2 jobs and doing this podcast and running the Canadian Canicross Sports. I get pretty freaking tired. So I've fallen asleep sitting up like on a couch, when I haven't meant to. But for 1 minute, I don't know how refreshing that would be for me. Like I need to have at least a good 20-minute nap. And if I did that during an ultra run, I don't think I'd meet any of the time cutoffs. So probably not a good strategy for me.
Yeah, I personally have not had a dirt nap like yourself. I find that probably only the dirt naps are going to happen in these multi-day events, which clearly you and I have yet to do. I've had one 23-hour journey and that's it so far. So, and I didn't need a nap during that, but perhaps in the future when I dive into multi-day ultras, then it will be necessary, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy too. The longest I've ever been awake without sleep is 38 hours, and that was after working night shift, being up all day
That's
with kids and
beyond
stuff.
phenomenal.
But it wasn't racing; it was just like trying to function in life. But I know some of these ultra races, people are up for longer than that, right? And so, yeah, you go a little crazy with lack of sleep for sure.
Definitely. So this is a great first topic. So it brings us in to topic number 2. Running into a coyote, bear, and cougar. So Rory Linkletter shares that I've ran up this canyon a handful of times. I remember one specific time with Runaways Hum Away. On that particular day, I'd have preferred this encounter. And so in this video, clearly there is some sort of wildlife animal that is approaching Rory during his trail run, and that is a dangerous scenario.
Yeah.
So clearly this wild cougar would be incredibly dangerous, and I can't say that I've encountered a coyote, a bear, or a cougar, thankfully, during a trail run, but it's a very valid risk, and clearly this is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it's interesting now. If you scroll down a little bit here, there's a little bit of a write-up that Rory writes here. So it says the above video shows a trail runner encountering a cougar outside Provo, Utah. The runner seems concerned, was obviously used to the scenario, so used to it, in fact, that he reasons out loud to the cougar, saying, "Come on, dude, I don't feel like dying today." So I don't think this was actually Rory's encounter. It was just a video, but she's had, I guess, similar encounters there, which is
Oh,
kind of
okay.
crazy. But yeah, it's interesting because I've had a few encounters out in the trails. Nothing like as dangerous as coming across a cougar and being, kind of threatened with my life from the cougar. But one of the most impactful experiences I had on a trail, I think I've shared this earlier in the show, um, was that I was out in a trail run up in the Kawarthas, and I didn't have my dogs with me. This was before my Canicross days. And as I was running up this trail, I heard like a rustling in the trees to the left of me, right? And all of a sudden, there's this canine. I believe it was a very big coyote. So there's this hybrid coy wolf where it's a hybrid of a coyote and a wolf. And I think that's what I was looking at because it didn't look like a wolf and the coloring was weird. So, and it wasn't a dog, a domesticated dog to say the least, because it had a deer by the snout. It was trying to take down this deer, and it was maybe 100 feet away from me. And I'm watching this. I'm like, whoa. So it was winter time. I pulled out my cell phone, which was in a Ziploc bag in case I dropped it, and I started filming. And I didn't catch the action where the coy wolf had the deer in its jaws, but as soon as they knew I was there, the coy wolf let go and started sauntering away from me up the trail, and I just stood there going, "Oh my gosh!" And then the deer starts walking towards me very slowly, and it came within like distance. I could have pet it and touch its head, and there's a little bit of blood coming from the snout. And I was just talking to it, and eventually I tried to make a wide circle around it to, not threaten it, and it got spooked and took off and ran away. And I ran in the direction that the coy wolf went, seeing if I could find it. I picked up its trails and followed it, and it took off into an opening into a field. And I didn't see it after that for the rest of the run. But it was interesting because I tracked the deer tracks on the way back, and it was going in the opposite direction of the wolf smartly. And it was kind of, I could see my footprints from the entrance into the trail, and he kind of took off in the other direction and lived to see another day, I guess. But what an amazing experience. I don't think I'll ever see something like that again. It was so cool. And then one other experience I had to share quickly with you, and we'll probably be talking about this topic a little bit later, was I was out for a trail run again in the Kawarthas, different trail, but very same area. But you've run in these trails too when you're over in Fenland Falls. And I heard a rustling in a tree up ahead, and it was dusk. And I thought, oh, that sounds too big to be a squirrel or a raccoon. And next thing I know, this black bear pops out of this tree. It was a cub, and I had a belly full of food because we just had dinner, and that was one of the reasons I was running because I felt disgusting. I'm like, I got to go run and feel better about myself. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to see the mother. So I'm like, I had a realization that I had no idea what I was supposed to do in front of this bear. I'm like, do I play dead or do I get big and scary? So I did the thing I should not do, and I turned around and I ran as fast as I could, and I picked up a rock. I'm like, oh, at least I'm gonna die fighting. So, anyways, I didn't look behind me for maybe a kilometer, and I luckily I didn't get chased. I didn't see Mama Bear, and the cub, I guess, took off, and all was well. But I definitely promptly looked up what to do in case you see a black bear. And if you want to know, you're supposed to get big and loud and scary with a black bear, and make yourself look big and threatening. Grizzly bear, totally different story. I don't know. You're kind of screwed with a grizzly bear, but I guess you're supposed to play dead. But anyways, black bear, yeah, don't run away.
Those are incredible stories, Shawn. I'm blown away. I mean, literally a wolf eating a deer. That's vile and insane. Like the fact that you witnessed that and then running away from a bear. Yeah, that's definitely, I can understand the panic and why you did that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really good lesson
If
not to do that.
if
I'm
I
glad,
can,
I'm ever grateful you're alive.
me too, me too. If I can find the video
Oh
of the
my God.
deer, if I can find the video of the deer, I'll post it up on our Trail Tales ARP Instagram account so people can see it. There's no sound to it, but you'll be able to see the deer anyway. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's move
Anyways,
on to the next topic. So,
yeah.
eating a meal seconds before continuing to run. So, most roadrunners are used to eating and then letting themselves digest that meal for about 2 hours before heading out for their workout. This is especially true when it comes to race day, but for an ultra trail runner, mealtime is anytime, as their races can last for days. If whole foods were restricted to before and after racing, they wouldn't see the finish line. So this is incredibly true. And so this makes me think of aid stations in ultra marathons. So for example, I know like during the Halliburton Forest Ultra Marathon, I've eaten peanut butter sandwiches and soup and different types of meals in the middle of these ultras, and they fuel you to keep going. And I know sometimes I've made, and you learn from these things, something that you shouldn't eat. And then you end up paying the price for it and learning a valuable lesson about what sits well with you and what doesn't.
Yeah, those are some hard lessons to learn, I guess, man. But or maybe soft lessons, depending on how it goes through you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, there's definitely some lessons. So this wasn't seconds before continuing to run, but one time I ate Lucky Charms before going out for a run. And I mean, it wasn't seconds, but it was definitely like a handful of minutes. And I learned never eat Lucky Charms before you go for a run. It
Oh
was,
man,
oh, it was terrible.
were you pooping out marshmallow rainbows after that?
I'll let everyone wonder what may have happened.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I guess knowing, that you have some nice meals waiting for you at an aid station during an ultra is kind of motivation to get there, eh?
Definitely, it is. Yeah, it's definitely a great drive to get to an aid station to fuel up and with more experience and more time, you figure out what works well for you and
Yeah,
what's consistent with you. And then from there, that eating a meal seconds before continuing to run can be a great thing and not a disastrous thing.
absolutely.
So next topic, a morning 25 and an afternoon 15. And this
What,
isn't mileage
whatever,
in
whatever do you
minutes.
mean? Carry on. Let's hear this.
It's not mileage in minutes. So it's mileage in kilometers. Or if even you want to be a bit more extreme, it could be miles. Ultra trail runners train a lot because their race distances necessitate it. You don't show up and you don't show up underprepared to a 100-mile adventure. And as all trail runners know, the mileage bug is a contagious one that makes you want to keep running more, read more, and do the 200 miler next year. I don't think that's a good idea for most people.
No, but it is true, like I'm one of those people that if I run, and I'm getting near my house and it says 9.8 kilometers, I'm going to be running in circles for 200 meters to get to get the to get the 10 kilometers because it's just something I have to do. I want that number, right? It's just I can't leave it at like 9.79. There are some days where I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But usually I try to go and get that mileage in. And it is addictive to try to accumulate the miles. And once you're focused on it, you want to see those numbers go up and you want to do better than you did the week before and then the week prior, right? And then carry on and see what you can get for a monthly total. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, a new month. Let's see if I can beat it, right? And I've been there and I've done that. I can't do that all the time because I certainly don't have the time to run those big miles these days anyhow. But I've been there. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely. I can fully relate to you in needing to reach that specific round number or a
Right?
specific distance. I guess 21.1 is not, or 42.2 isn't, but it's a half marathon and marathon. So they're not round, but they're
That's
they're
what you're
they're
looking
still the
for.
benchmarks, right? Like,
Yeah.
or like for me, I can never run 16 kilometers. It has to be 16.1 so that
For the
I
10 miles.
10 miles, yeah. Yeah. So like we have our certain like numbers in our brain that we convince ourselves of. And I think with this, it's important to keep in mind double the run, double the fun. I
Yeah.
know I've done some double runs before, obviously, in my 4.5 years of running. And it's amazing and it's fun.
Yeah, I've had double run days too, and they're kind of fun too. I do enjoy them. Um, it's interesting because sometimes if I'm going out for a run, I'm gonna go run for a 5K. If I end up with a 5.6 or 5.7, I'm at my front door. Sometimes I'll kind of come to grips with that by saying, well, those are bonus miles, so it's okay. I hit my goal, I got bonus.
It's above 5K
Yeah. But
is
then
the rationale,
but then
right?
as I approach my door, I turn around and I run to get it to 6.
And that's amazing. That's yeah. Just get that one extra kilometer above your 5 kilometer goal outing.
Oh man, yeah, so much fun.
That's
Oh, what
great.
what do we got next on our list here, bud?
So here we go. And I think, yes, so that's the end of this article. And
All
so,
right.
Shawn, why don't you start us off with the cocaine bear?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I came across a bear in the woods, and if you've been watching trailers or YouTube, I don't have cable anymore, but there've been a lot of ads coming up for this movie. I think it's out now. It's called Cocaine Bear, and it's based on a true story. And it says the real story is weirder and sadder than what we saw in the film's bonkers preview, but you have to watch this preview. It's absolutely insane. So the premise of the story is that there was a drug smuggler, I think flying over California. He got into some sort of situation where he needed to, um, I think the plane was crashing or he was being chased, so he dumped his load of drugs into the woods. And in real life, I don't know what happened in the movie, but the pilot died, the plane crashed. Anyways, bear comes across this cocaine in the woods and consumes it and goes batshit crazy and starts killing people. And there's like trail runners that come across the bear, like, oh, look, a bear, and then they get mauled. It's pretty funny. You got to see this. But there's the trailer there. We should play this so you can see it, Russell. But it's absolutely hilarious. I will also say that in real life, the bear actually died. It didn't go on a big killing spree like what's in the movie. But what I love about this movie specifically is that it contains trail runners. It also has paramedics, and the bear's like chasing the ambulance to try to get this person, and it like jumps into the back of the ambulance. I'm like, oh, I love it. So let's play this. Let's see if we can hear it while we're talking. Because if you're screen sharing with me, it might pick up in the audio.
Okay, here we go. Let's test it out.
Crank that up.
Yes.
There's the ambulance. I don't hear anything. Do you hear it?
Can you hear it now?
Beth, we should go. Millions of dollars worth of cocaine fell from the sky this morning in Knoxville, Tennessee. There's more of this out there. They dumped it somewhere. I'm looking for my daughter. Forest is a dangerous place.
Hey, Henry, check it out. Something got into it. A deer, maybe.
A lot of cocaine was lost. I need you to go and get it.
There's a bear eating a brick of cocaine.
The bear, it fucking did cocaine. Did cocaine.
There was a bear.
A bear?
It was fun.
Hey, that's inappropriate.
There's some kid getting dragged off by the bear, taking out the forest ranger.
You're safe. Bears can't climb trees.
Of course I can.
Bear's climbing the tree, going after the kid. Sees the guy who's got cocaine on his shirt, goes into him, and he's dead.
Kind of seems like the thing that stays with the man forever.
Apex predator.
Anyway, so you kind of get the premise of it. I'm gonna put the link in the show notes for this trailer because it's absolutely hilarious. But Yeah, it's funny. The movie isn't really like the real thing, like what happened in real life, but I'm still yet to see this, but this is a movie I want to see just because it's just one of those insane movies.
I'm, I'm endlessly amazed. I don't think I ever would have anticipated seeing a movie like this in my life.
You can't make this stuff up. I mean, Cocaine Bear, and I don't know. It's just for me, it's very intriguing. I don't know. I like stupid movies.
I need to watch this movie.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And so does everyone in the Trail Tales ARP family should watch this movie.
Yeah, it's done by Universal, so I don't know. I guess the quality will be good. Hopefully.
So shall we jump into our final article, Shawn?
Let's do it, bud.
So finally, the do's and don'ts of wildlife encounters on the trail. This is incredibly critical. Guidelines on how to stay safe and diffuse potentially unsafe situations in the wild, animal by animal.
Don't be like Shawn and run away from the bear.
Solid advice.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's get serious here. Who's this article by? Who's this
Here
article
we
by?
go. So the article is by Outside Online, and it's written by Lisa Junn, and it was written way back in June 2020.
All right, 6/20/20.
So here we go, jumping on into this. So the first animal is coyotes. So
it is mating season for coyotes right now. We can hear them howling out in the woods behind our house. So you might come across some.
That's fascinating. And yeah, so these tips are incredibly important based on that. So here we go. So coyotes, the do. Stay calm. Keep your dog on a leash. Okay, Piper and Luna, Shawn. And back away slowly. Stop running, stand tall, and yell if a coyote or coyotes see you and appears to be sizing you up. Throw something to scare it away, but don't actually hit it. Make eye contact if the coyote is alone and back away slowly.
Eye contact is very important there because it's a challenge to the animal psychologically. I guess they're kind of similar to dogs too, right? So when you're making eye contact with the animal, it's a challenge to them, and you'll know you won when they kind of move their gaze away. I guess that works with people too. But anyways, okay, what are the do nots of the coyote encounter?
That's a fascinating tip for sure, and I could see how that's important to make eye contact, which is hard to do. So the do not turn your back and run away, or let your dog give chase. So you can run away in this situation, Shawn. Act threatening or look, or actually, sorry, you can't. I should say it's the do not. Sorry. Yeah, don't run away. Actually, act threatening or look any of them in the eye if you are facing a pack.
So you're going to be outnumbered, so you don't want to challenge a pack. I've heard of a strategy with coyotes actually where if they see a dog, what they'll do is they'll send one coyote out to kind of be playful. I think there's a tactic of coyotes. Maybe it was wolves. Either way, they'll send one out to kind of be playful with the animal to lure it away. And then there's a pack waiting, like in the bushes, and then they'll feast on it. So it's pretty crazy how they can do that. I don't have any references for it now, but yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's one of those things. But all right, so don't turn your back on the coyotes. Don't act threatening. If you're outnumbered, don't run away from them. Just slowly back away, I guess. And
definitely make eye contact and stop running and stand tall and make sure you don't run away.
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene in The Simpsons where Homer's running away from Mr. Burns' hounds, where he says, "Release the hounds," and he chases people off his property.
That's such a great reference.
Homer, he's running like these. He goes, "I know," and he pulls out a string of like a link of sausages from his pocket. He says, you're thinking he's going to throw the sausages to distract the dogs. He's like, "These sausages will give me the energy I need to get away from the dogs." So he eats them and keeps on running. Classic Homer. Crazy. Classic Homer. All right.
Yeah, Homer would love sausages. Yeah. So the next animal, incredibly dangerous, mountain lions.
Funny fact about mountain lions, actually. In Canada, I think the population of mountain lions sits somewhere around 3,800 that we have, or cougars, whatever you want to call them. And the majority of them are where you are, Russell, in British Columbia.
It's unfortunate.
I'll keep the coyotes. You can have the mountain lions.
Oh, yeah. I pray that I never encounter one, but I'm glad that we're going over these do's and do nots so that I'm prepared. So here we go. So the first do, stop running and make eye contact. So again, this is applicable to coyotes and mountain lions. Make yourself appear as big as possible, which is also applicable to coyotes. Raise your arms slowly, so I'd say in a very calm manner. Open your jacket and stand close to your running partner, if you even have one.
Hopefully you do, but yeah, you might not.
Ideally, make noise by yelling and banging rocks together. So hopefully there's some rocks nearby. Throw something you have in your hands. So typically when we're running, there's usually not something right in our hands, but if you have a pack, find something in your pack. If you're between the lion and its prey or kittens, give the lion a path to get to its treasure. So essentially direct it in the way that it wants to go to find what it likes. Fight back if attacked, only if you're attacked, protecting your throat and neck, in which I would imagine the mountain lion's claws could certainly do some damage to the throat and neck.
Yeah, I don't think if you're unarmed, like if you don't have a firearm, I don't think you have a chance of surviving a mountain lion attack. I don't know. Just doesn't seem like it's good odds.
Definitely not.
What are the do nots?
The do nots. So there's not much here. The first one of two is bend or crouch down. So essentially make yourself as big as possible, but by raising your arms slowly, and don't put yourself in a vulnerable position by crouching or bending. And also don't turn your back and run. So similar to, again, the same with coyotes. So don't, because they'll catch you.
Yeah, they'll catch you.
So
I'm just gonna say, because I can see what the next encounter is on this list. If I see one of these, I am out of there. I don't care if it says don't run. I'm running. I'm getting out of here. I hate these things.
we're not going to follow these trips by outside online, and we're going to find a way to find a side trail and get away from where it can get us.
For what's coming up on the list, yeah, don't like it. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Go. Ugh, I already got the heebie-jeebies. Ugh, no, don't like them. Hate snakes.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Yeah, snakes. I've actually seen this happen in a couple ultra running documentaries, and so it can happen out there. So there's a few do's here. So leave the snake alone. Seems like a good strategy and should be doable given that the snake is quite small usually. So try and stay away from it. Give it a wide berth. So essentially give it plenty of space to move on away from you. And if you're struck by a snake, which would be horrendous, stay calm and seek medical help as soon as possible. So they would be contacting your profession, Shawn.
We don't carry the anti-venom, so I don't know what we're gonna
do. Yes, thankfully they're small. Like I'm not nearly as threatened by a snake as I am a coyote, or a mountain lion is incredibly intimidating.
Yeah, you know what though, in Ontario we don't have any snakes that you really have to worry about venom. I think we have the Massasauga rattler, but I don't even know where it's located, if it's in Ontario, but I know it's in Canada. But as far as venomous snakes, so we don't have that problem here. Down in the United States, I guess, in the southern states, or even over in Australia, lots of venom and lots of dangerous stuff here. But usually up here is just garter snakes. Or came across a hognose snake once. It was dead on the road, so that's the only kind of snake I like. But it was big. It was quite thick and large, and I'd never seen one before. So I took a picture of it and tried to identify it. And it was like a eastern hognose snake or something like that. It was in the Kawarthas again. Kawarthas is a little bit east of where I am, and yeah, they have them there apparently.
The venomous snakes, definitely want to stay away from those, and it may even be hard to identify whether it's venomous or not.
Yeah, I guess if you're living in an area that has those animals, it's probably a good idea to familiarize yourself with them so you can identify them, right? Because I know there's I can't remember now. It's like a corn snake, and there's another one that looks very similar to it. That is venomous. One's not, one is. I don't want to confuse anybody, but it's based on the rings, like the colors of the rings on the snake. And I used to know it, but we don't have them where we live, so I forgot it. Anyways, what do we? Let's move on here. I'm digressing.
Do not. So stick your hand in crevices I mean, obviously that'd be dangerous. A snake could be in there.
Oh, because that's a good idea in the woods. Let's go stick your hand in a crevice.
Yeah, I guess who would even do that, right?
Right.
Sit on logs or craggy rocks without looking around them and inside. Yeah, because they could be hidden in there in the logs or the craggy rocks.
Yeah.
And then do not step over a log into a shady possible snake napping spots. So essentially just be aware of areas where there's snakes and don't go to those areas, and also don't provoke a snake in any way.
Yeah. From everything I've read on snakes, they usually won't strike unless they're threatened in some way, right? Usually it's like you're stepping on them when they're sleeping or something, you're near a nest. But I'm going to share with you real quick why I don't like snakes. Okay. So when I was a young lad growing up, we used to go to the field near our house and we'd go collect snakes. We'd go grab the garter snakes barehanded, put them in a box and bring them home and gross out our parents and then put them back in the field. Well, one day I was riding through this said field, and I guess the tractor that had maintained the field and cut the lawn had been through recently, and I'm riding my bike over to the creek, to the Etobicoke Creek. For people who are familiar with it, I lived in the east end of Mississauga that bordered with Etobicoke, and Etobicoke Creek is a great place to play when you're a kid. And I'm riding along on my bike. I got my shorts on. It's a summer day, and I'm pedaling like this. Next thing I know, this snake jumps up out of the grass and hits me in my inner thigh, and oh, I can still remember it. It was dead. It was chopped up by the tractor that mowed the grass, but it was thick, man, and it hit me right up in the inner thigh. And ever since then, I just get the heebie-jeebies from snakes. I got PTSD from the dead snake in the field. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Just bad luck. It got stuck up in my spokes, I guess, and flung up and hit me right in the inner thigh. Nasty bit of business.
I cannot believe that. I'm endlessly grateful you were okay after that. Wow.
Yeah, it was dead, so it couldn't hurt me, but definitely spooked me.
Yeah, that would be spooky. And so moving into the next animal, this is the classic animal of bears.
Cocaine bear.
Incredibly dangerous, and I think everyone's always afraid of bears in the wilderness, right? We tend to think of bears the most, I think.
Yep.
And so let's move into the do's. So you definitely want to have bear spray on you and in an accessible place to grab quickly if you encounter a bear. And you want to read the bear spray instructions in terms of using it for the proper duration and distance, because different brands have different durations and distances that are effective in utilizing it on bears. And then finally, start to spray a charging bear when it is 30 to 60 feet away. So a decent distance there. And yeah,
you gotta give that spray time to work.
Yeah, I would even advise 60 feet away because 30 feet is quite close.
Yeah, don't do it when it's 70 feet away though, because it'll only spray 60 feet. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I guess maybe aim for 50. Try and
don't waste the spray.
Yeah, so essentially spray bears when they're 50 feet away.
Yeah. What do we not do when there are bears around?
Don't climb a tree. So black bears and grizzlies can both climb better than humans. So yeah, don't climb trees. It's actually not safe, as we saw in the cocaine bear video trailer. And do not keep your dogs off leash. So make sure that your dogs are on leash, Shawn and Trail Tales ARP family, because the off leash dogs can attract grizzlies and lure them back to their owners. So
I always keep my dogs on leash no matter what. It's just, if they see something, they might go running off, and I just want to mitigate that risk completely and keep them on a leash, right? And I've come across other dogs out in the trails where they're off leash, and I always see their owners panicking, calling their back, get back here, and they're panicking. I'm like, I never want that to be me. I'm just going to have my dogs under control. It doesn't matter. Like, even if your dog listens really well, like if there's another dog that comes up by surprise on it, you're going to have that panic mode. And I just doesn't seem appealing to me. So my dogs are always leashed up.
That's a very wise call, Shawn. Yeah, especially with regards to bears, and having them with you and canicrossing.
Yeah, I guess off-leash dogs are bear bait. You don't want that. So
yes, and so then there's various different guidance here for different bear scenarios. So the first one is if you see a bear and it doesn't see you. So again, if you see a bear, but it doesn't see you, stay calm and back away slowly, which makes perfect sense because the bear is not aware of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can back away slowly and ensure that you'll be safe. And that's a good thing. It hasn't seen you. And
what if a bear sees you? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is more important, I think. If a bear does see you, which is ever dangerous, obviously, talk in quiet tones, telling the bear you're a human, then back away slowly. So essentially the same as the first, but just with addition to that, talking in quiet tones and letting the bear know that you're human.
It says, back away slowly if it returns to doing bear things like finding a picnic basket. But let's see, if the bear sees you, let's say that doesn't work. If the bear sees you and decides it wants to charge you and kick your ass, it says here to stand your ground. The charge might be a bluff. Use your bear spray. You really hope that charge is a bluff. And I think that's a common behavior where they'll charge you, then turn around and try to get you out of there. They don't want a piece of you either, right? They just want to be left alone. So, okay, what did we do, Russell, if a bear attacks us?
Oh my goodness. So this is dire situation potentially. So drop to the ground and play dead by covering the back of your neck with your hands like this. If you can see me on YouTube, and protecting your face with your forearms, elbows on the ground. So yeah, it's important to have to cover the back of your neck with your hands and protect your face with your forearms in order to keep yourself safe with your elbows firmly on the ground. And finally, play dead for longer than you think you need to. The bear may think that you're actually dead, and so that could be a safe strategy. And a bear may sniff you or simply watch you to make sure you are no longer a threat before leaving.
All right. The next point here is kind of concerning. So if a bear is stalking you,
yes,
a predatory bear will approach you with its head up and its ears erect. If you think a bear is following you, take a 90-degree turn and walk 100 to 300 yards. Make another 90-degree turn and walk another 100 to 300 yards, and so on. I guess like in a zigzag pattern. It may just be curious and leave you alone once its curiosity is satisfied. Talk loudly, wave your arms, look as big as possible, and throw things, showing the bear that you are not easy prey. While you walk and turn, and repeat. All right. It's interesting. They don't distinguish between black bears or grizzly bears, or cocaine bears in that matter. But I guess that's just good, solid, standard advice. All right, let's move on. Let's see what else we got.
Definitely. And that actually brings us to the end of the article.
There we go. We finished off with a stalking cocaine bear. If you see the stalking cocaine bear, hopefully you have some more cocaine on you and you can give the bear the cocaine, because in that trailer it looks to be very fond of that white powder. But oh, Russell, what a fun chat we had, man. That was good stuff.
So, that's an incredible chat.
Yeah. So I don't have our guest list available, but we do have a guest coming up on March 11th. So listen for that podcast shortly after. This one's going to be up before then. And wherever you are out there, Trail Tales ARP family, I hope you're warm and well and running wild. And until next time,
run wild.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Trail Tales ARP, a running podcast from Shawn Sobon and Russell the Runner. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at trail_tales_ARP. Check out our YouTube channel at Trail Tales ARP, and you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Catch you next time. Run wild.
back, mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Stop it up.